Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Currie Cup. This one, it will be Boland taking on the Cheetahs in the first round of this Currie Cup competition. Now, for Boland, this is their first opportunity in the Currie Cup for this season and also from the last few years. Last year was the Griffins. This year, though, we see the promotion of the new side. Looking through at their starting lineup for this matchup, it will be Bernardi as the number one, Marlon Williams at 2, and Mafu slotting in as the number 3, Glamini in the locking duo alongside Sangweni, and then September, Davids, and also Donovan Don from the 7 side of things will be slotting in as the number 8, or at least that is what I had. In fact, no, sorry, Donovan Don's going to be in the back line. I was reading a little bit too far down. We will go to the front row. Once again, new side, ladies and gents. I don't actually know a lot of these guys, but Losper, Tobias, and then Fintervestes. And there we go. That is the front row. In this match, it is going to be Bernardi alongside Marlon Williams in the locking duo, Glamani alongside then Sangweni and Mafu as a loose forward trio. September and Davids will be the 19 combination for this match. A very important one in Ashlon Davids, a hugely important member of this Boland side. He has been phenomenal throughout last season. I believe he got Player of the Year, so certainly one to keep an eye on for this contest. In the midfield, it is going to be Nkali alongside David Britt. And then in the back 3, Donovan Don, it is Titus out on the right wing, and then Teta at number 15 for the Cheetahs. This is a side that a lot of people are excited to see for this Currie Cup competition. They've got a ton of talent. They have been doing relatively well in terms of the Challenge Cup and any competition that they do take part in. It will be Van Veck alongside Van Rensburg, and then Dos Reyes as the number 3. Janssen van Veeren slotting in as the number 4, with Sekaketi at the number 5. Van der Merwe alongside Ice at number 7, and Voskink slotting in as the number 8. Krieger alongside Wenzel as the 10. Majima in the midfield alongside Van Vuren, and then also Brits, Makaza, and Jasper as the number 15. So those are the lineups. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen some pretty one-sided affairs in the last little while, unfortunately. Like that game between the Western Province and the Bulls, it seemed like it was going to be closer, but then it just slipped a little bit for the province. We saw that game prior to that, the Lions versus the Sharks. It was one-sided, not in the way that some people anticipated. In fact, we've got the score lines here. There we go, 46 points to 5. And then the Pumas and the Griquas. At the moment, you'd have to say it is between that game and the Western Province Blue Bulls as the best game of the round. Very similar scorelines when you look at them, but this thing is, this game, it could be one-sided, or we could have a very entertaining match, and perhaps it could be match of the weekend for this Carling Currie Cup round number 1. Off the bench, some pretty handy players for both sides in this contest. It will be fun score as the number 16 for Boland Nunu, alongside Victor, Hendricks, Marsh, but similar there, Mostert and Mitchell as the number 23. Keep an eye out for Clayton Blomekis as the 23 for the Cheetahs. That man, no matter what team he is on, whether it is Currie Cup or URC, always seems to, unfortunately, be regarded as a bench player. And he is a world-class talent when he is on form. So, you know, he could really change this game later on for the Cheetahs if we do have a close game here. Of course, it's very hard to judge where Boland will be compared to the Cheetahs, seeing as the Cheetahs are a long stay in this Currie Cup comp. Looking where the Cheetahs got last year, they did actually finish in 4th with a chance of the playoffs, although they did lose to the Lions in that semi-final fixture. But they're a very capable side. So when you look at the Griffins, a side that just recently to play up against the guys that Boland were playing last year, and you look at the fact that they won in Golden Point, the Griffins, you just wonder if it's going to be a massive step up. But we will soon know. Now we have got there, Boland, is how you pronounce it. It's very hard to describe it without you physically hearing it. Say a boa apart very quickly. And also we have got there Kiwi Boland on top. Says Furlan there. And Boland Yao Lika Ding. Says Ron Wan. And there too. And I never heard of Boland. They fairly new. They are new to the Currie Cup. Or at least for this year anyway. And how much over did you get over the last 48 hours? How much over did I get? I assume that's how much sleep did I get over the last 48 hours. I think I probably had a few hours scattered throughout there. I'm not sure of the exact number because I'm not sure when I last slept before the last time I slept, whether or not that's in the 48 hours that we're talking about. But we are slightly sleep deprived, but not by a massive amount at this point in time. But this round, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful afternoon for this matchup. Of course, it's going to be a 3 p.m. kickoff, which does mean we're only 4 minutes away from it taking place. Like they're saying, the Boland Kavaliers, they come in as underdogs. Oh, this one, don't think there's much attendance at our Boland Stadium today. Normally they're parked outside or right outside our place here in Wellington, Western Cape. The thing is, though, with the exception of that Western Province Bulls game, none of the games have had a huge attendance. We actually talked about it a little bit after the last match, talking about the comparison of the old Currie Cup to the new. And unfortunately, it's like most games of rugby, how it's very hard to get people in the stands nowadays. Hello all, and Hamish. I'm hoping the Cheetahs win, says Chantel. But yeah, I do want to know your score predictions, ladies and gents, for this one. But Donovan Don, keeping an eye on him, out on the wing for this contest. David Britz as the number 13. Got a good backline here, the Cheetahs. The Cavaliers, compared to the Cheetahs, who have got few more experienced heads. They have been in this Currie Cup environment more recently. We have got their Boland Kavaliers doesn't play for, we play to win, says Verlin. And the Cheetahs 50 to Boland's 12. And 32-17 to the Cheetahs, says Novmum. And there as well. But yeah, it's a great day for rugby by the looks of it. I've thoroughly enjoyed this first round of the Currie Cup, although we are still waiting for the closest game possible. And perhaps that would be this one. But who knows? You know, it doesn't take a lot to become the closest margin when we show those first 3 games once again. You know, that first game separated by the 21 points. The game between the Western Province and the Bulls separated by 25. So less than 21 means it is the closest match of the weekend. We've already seen quite a few cards involved. Griquas getting 3 yellow cards at one time in their game. We saw 3 yellow cards for the Western Province at slightly different times, although both locks going off the field at the same time. The 2 sides making their way out through the tunnel. Here come the Cheetahs, ready to go for this matchup. But now, moving forward, we will go like that as well. Like that. There we go. But at the moment, the odds do not look good for Boland, unfortunately, for their very first game, although it is probably just because it's a little bit of an unknown how they will match up with this Cheetahs side. Cheetahs 45, Boland 33. Says Lionel there, you're nice and sunny here today in Wellington, and a cool breeze though. Says Annie. I went to see Fantastic Four with my son last night. Was quite a good movie. Says no, Mum, was it like a remake? Because I know that they had like an original Fantastic Four, didn't they, from a long time ago. Cavaliers make their way out onto their home stadium to a loud roar of the crowd. As this is a team that want to do well in this Currie Cup competition, want to book themselves a spot here full time. France fixing things up with the Cheetahs. Big year for them, says Vernus there. And also 43 for Boland compared to the 37 of the Cheetahs, says Verlin. So going with a high-scoring close game, Marlon Williams in that number 5 jersey for this Boland team, and a little pony walking around the ground. And we have got there, could be a very entertaining match, says Ruth. And also we have got there the Cheetahs 50 to 28, and my blood is orange. For the Cheetahs, says Julie, and no idea. I haven't seen any of the other ones. He gets $2 movie tickets as he works at the cinema. I see. So it's a little bit of a bargain. Go along to the movie, because normally it's like probably $15 at least, isn't it? And I hold Cheetahs by 20, 45 to 25. To be fair, that would still be our closest game of the weekend, if that was the case. So I think as long as this game is close or closer than some of the other games that we have had, I think a lot of people would be happy. But certainly plenty of tries throughout this first round of the Currie Cup. In fact, this is a question, ladies and gentlemen. Who, in terms of a team, do you feel has had the best performance? I know that the Lions, the way that they played up against the Sharks was incredibly impressive. The Bulls, they conceded a few points, but overall, they still had some brilliant moments throughout their attacking plays. They had Lotta Chamberlain, who was kicking better than I think he ever has in that number 10 jersey, partner with Zach Berger, who was on fire. The loose forwards for the Bulls were formidable. And then the Pumas, maybe. The other side, you guys feel had the best round, starting with a bit of pressure early on up against the Griquas and getting the job done by a margin. And Boland have some talent, can't write them off yet. Tough farm country mountain men, says Roof, but it is going to be kicked off here by Boland. And we are now underway for another match of the Currie Cup. But it is Ashlyn Davids, a phenomenal talent for this Boland team. And the ball is dropped forward by the Cheetahs off kickoff, which is now going to bring a Boland scrum. As a highly biased Bulls supporter, the Bulls played the best, says Marco there. They had a really good game. And I feel like the Lions, I want to say they had more individuals who played well, whereas the Bulls probably as a team had the better game. But then, like, honestly, the Lions, they won 46-5, so they can't be too sad about that one. Also, it's a late night for UA. It is. It's currently 1 a.m. here in New Zealand. I was debating whether or not to do this game, as I will be working tomorrow morning, or this morning, I guess, for us here in New Zealand. But I was like, nah, we're doing this match for all four of the Currie Cup opening round. And Cheetahs 30-17 to the Cavaliers, says Big Rig. Our Lions were impressive playing to the third to fourth string of the Sharks players, says Lisa Fitness. That is a good point. They were playing a much lighter Sharks team than we have seen. That one's kicked into touch by the Cavaliers. Not quite the strike of the ball for James Tedder that he would have been after. Although, I think it actually has taken a deflection, so they will have the throw now with Sydney Tobias. Hey, what's up, people? Says Xander, welcome in. And she'll be strong scrumming and running. Ryan's Hamish, says Ruth. The line out throw now, 25 metres out from the line for the Cavaliers. Nicely taking that line out time. Now firing it back across. It will be in the hands of Davids. Big, strong, powerful run from Khlameni. Now Williams, quick hands from the captain. Nice step coming from David Britz. It's great to see the sevens guys scattered throughout these teams, as well as hopefully a few of those under 20 players. I did see the news that Kakane has signed with the Lions, so he will be partnering with Hassim Peed later on in the Currie Cup. They are both with the Springboks at the moment in a training camp, going short side once more for the Cavaliers. Not a lot of space to work with there, so they will now shift it back right. And then 25 metres out from the line, Sydney Tobias with another carry. To the right again, little kick behind, attempted by Davids. It sits up for the fullback of the Cavaliers, but he knocks the ball on for James Tedder, and now the Cheetahs will be able to clear their lines from inside of their 22. But that was a nervous moment there for the away team. Taken nicely by David Britz. Looks for the wide sling and pass into the hands of Kelly. About 35 metres out, but almost a clean steal. No, Cheetahs will be penalised for side entry. The Cavaliers 40 metres out have the opportunity to either take on the 3 or go for the potential 7. But fast pace to start this game, which I think maybe, that's about what people would have been anticipating. Both of these sides wanting to come out firing from the get-go. But yeah, they just mentioned about that side entry of the Cheetahs in the breakdown. We have got their Big Rig Joe. Hello from Cape Town. Hamish rocking it again like Led Zeppelin. And go the Cheetahs go. I love you guys deeper than the deep, says Julie in there as well. And good afternoon, Hamish and mates, says Julie there too. Oh, sorry, that was from Flesham rather than Julie. But now, line out throw here for Sydney Tobias. And going to the front, nicely done here. Just about in touch for Tobias. In fact, he was worked out. It will now be the line out throw for Marco Janse Funds Rensburg. Channel for watching, please. DSTV is your best bet if you're in South Africa. If you're in New Zealand, it is on Sky Sport 3 today. But now, ready to throw this one in for the Cheetahs. Just taking their time here. I hear a band in the background, which is quite a nice touch, bit of atmosphere at the game, it would seem. Now 5 metres out from their own line, the Cheetahs trying to work it forward. They haven't had too many attacking chances as of yet, playing a majority of this game in the half. And it does now go into touch. A very nice exit from the Cheetahs. The job is not done yet. And we have go down to my pleasant surprise, Stan in Australia, says Marco. Yeah, it's actually great to see that Australia have picked up the licensing, the same as Sky here in New Zealand. We'll go like this and like that. I'm actually curious to see what they think the difference between these two sides will be in this game. Because like I said, Boland come in as underdogs, but I want to see the split in terms of what type of scoreline they are anticipating. Of course, high-scoring contests when we do see these sides play in the Currie Cup. As there are lots of people at Wellington Stadium, point of view, or POV, sorry, Boland Stadium, there are quite a few people in attendance. And at the end of the day, I think that because this is a home game and because it is their first one of the Currie Cup, like, they are going to get a lot more support here. And hopefully they can put in a good showing, and then they will get the support all throughout the rest of the season too. I don't mind being called Julie, says Flesh in there. Yeah, it's kind of, well, it's not even really close, is it? It's not even close to the same letters, but we can call you Julie from now on if you like, Flesh. Lining up this kick now, though, for Boland, who will be able to take the early lead if this one does go over front of the home crowd. It shouldn't be the trickiest kick of the day. It's going to be the number 15, James Tedder, in charge of lining this one up. I have faith in Hamish. Looking forward to the Sharks next week if they are playing. Says Cool Story, they are playing and they're up against the Bulls. And that one is going to be over, so that will make the score after 6 minutes 3-0 for the Cavaliers. Great start to the contest for the home team. Hope someone scores soon, otherwise we'll fall asleep. A penalty goal doesn't count. I want to see tries. Says no, Mum. Well, we've had plenty of them throughout the Currie Cup round one. We have seen 3 sides who won their games end up getting the bonus point for 4 or more tries. No one who has lost a contest as of yet has received a bonus point, though. So that could still be on the line here in this matchup. And those extra points could be crucial getting into the later stages, definitely with the shortened competition. Oh, it's kicked off. Cheetahs kick it out on the full. Mistake. And he is not happy there for Ethan Wetzel. He does end up just giving the chance to the opposition here on the halfway line. Okay, keep it under 40. This time Shark says Cool Story. And Boland, yes, says Verlin. I have to say, it is quite awesome seeing the support that the Boland side has got. And it does just show that that promotion and relegation, you know, how much it can mean to a side getting promoted into this comp. And I Hamish and everyone says Lilia B. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Now, ready to feed this ball in. It will be the number 9 in September. Oh, and both sides standing up. Now, this Cheswell September, has he played for a team in the URC before? I feel like I remember him from somewhere. Or maybe that was a different September, but has he been at the Bulls? Is he the one who I'm thinking of, or am I thinking of someone else? And I actually want to change that Fleshin name to my real name, but Julie might be better, says Fleshin there. You'll get a lot more messages from random guys, though, Fleshin, so you got to be prepared for that. Now, putting this ball in. September, waiting for this one at the back. Whole scrum has really collapsed there. Both front rows going down, but it is going to be play on now. Back in the pocket was James Tedder, who runs it straight into the area where that scrum collapsed. So he would go right into traffic. September now, big shot coming in from the Cheetahs defence. Kiwi Boland has more supporters than Province. Says Furlan there. But yeah, it's been incredible to see the support that they've had all throughout this week. And they're a good young side. You know, they've got some very talented players across the lineup, and the biggest confidence booster for them will be to be competitive in this match. Now, oh, big shot coming in from Marco Jansi van Rensburg. Now back into the pocket. Davids will go high again. Waiting for this one to come down at the back. Jesper goes up for it. It's gone back off Black, so it is now going to be Cheetah's possession. Ugh, that was a really ugly clean out. His knee went sideways, but he got the turnover in the process. Ball back on the side of Boland again. Now September. Back across. Davids. Skip past now, finding the midfield where David Brits was waiting. Might have got a little bit too much on that kick. Yes, it will go in the in-goal area. Forced down. And it is now the goal line dropout. Yo, guys, Hamish keeps me in touch with the Currie Cup, actually. Says, cool story, bro. And also, Ola Ruth says, Lilia B, and after Western Province performance yesterday, Boland are rocking it. Says Ruth. Well, the thing is, right, that game between the Western Province and the Bulls, compared to the stadium where it is located, I don't think they're that far apart, are they? So I wonder how many people have actually decided to go to both games of the Currie Cup just for the sake of, getting to see some more rugby live, but it is controlled off the chest for the Cavaliers. We'll now have possession 30 metres out from the line. September going short side, looping around, and they don't quite link up. Now September just looking for this ball. It was stuck underneath the prop's knee. Always a hard place to get the ball out of. Now tackle made by Jansi van Rensburg. September back across again. Skip pass finds David Brits. Tackled low, and Donovan Don gets into the breakdown. Side entry, but there's going to be play on now. Williams selling a dummy from David straight through the sensational fly half, but 10 metres out from the line, and the Cheetahs defence has scrambled. 10 minutes into this contest as well, and now the number 10 kicks it cross field, and it is taken by the Cheetahs. They will go back for the original penalty against Marco Jansen van Rensburg. Or Jansi van Rensburg, I should say. So now the decision needs to be made by Boland. And it looks like they are going to take on the 3 points. Now, one other side did take on threes quite often throughout the opening round of the Currie Cup. Although that was a side that did lose in the Western Province. This is an easy 3, though. So it shouldn't be too much trouble at all for Boland to be able to add the extra 2. Oh, sorry, the extra 3. And I wouldn't mind, but my wife might get a bit upset at me getting messages from random blokes, says Fleshin. Would she rather that or random woman, though, Fleshin? Because I guess Fleshin's very, no one knows what that is. An amazing bullet, says Verlin. That kick has gone over. 6-0 now for the home team. Awesome Dawson is a sign that they have got there in the stands. 12 minutes in, and the Cheetahs have not had an attack throughout pretty much this whole contest. And Lilia B, we got the sound turned up to hear Hamish because the crowd at Boland Stadium are quite noisy. And we have got there, your wife will ask who's Julie. You got to hide your lipstick, says Ruth. Now going to be kicked off again by the Cheetahs with Ethan Vincel. Lame Dawson couldn't make it today, sadly. Here's Big Rig Joe, nicely taken there by the Cavaliers inside of their own 22. Good attack and run forward from Sangweni. And another penalty going against the Cheetahs, who are really struggling to find their feet early on in this matchup, which is a surprise because, like I said, they came in as favourites and they were expected to do pretty well for this match. At this point in time, they just haven't really got that rhythm as of yet. I'm just trying to see if there was a live odd for what they're sitting at now, whether or not maybe the slight odds have switched. We have there. I got a message from one random guy on Reddit. Said he liked older woman. Dude was like, no, go away, says no mum. Reddit is a very dangerous place. Not a lot good has come out of Reddit, I don't believe, in the time that it's been around. Tim Currie is my favourite Currie. Not really from your time, Hamish. And Tom Currie and Rice, says Ruth. Now, nicely taken. A lot of pressure coming in there on, I believe it would have been September by Sekaketi. Off the back, Sydney Tobias. A few extra metres there for the Cavaliers, moving towards the halfway line. Pick and go there again. I don't think I can even mention some of the weird PMs I've gotten. Says Big Rig. See, we haven't got too many strange ones throughout our time. Which is probably, you get the occasional one that's like some random spam account. But I think everyone gets those, don't they? And that's Boland, Never Lose Park. Says Verlin. Now backline movement again, starting to get a bit more space. It wasn't Cully. Now September, nice pass to the outside. Donovan Don showing off that 7 speed. So about 20 metres out from the line now. September back across to Sydney Tobias. That can be hard to tell sometimes, though. I think a lot of them are bots, says Big Rig. Bots are getting smarter. They're not so robotic anymore, but that is going to be another penalty to the Cavaliers. Tackle off the ball. This is as easy of a 3 as they have had throughout this whole contest. I think they just keep on taking the points. While the Cheetahs are struggling, yes, people want to see tries. You take the points while they're there, don't you? Oh, okay, no. And just like that, the mindset has now changed for Boland. They have got their 2 penalties. I am a little bit surprised. I actually thought maybe if you were going to do that, you'd go for making sure you get 3 first so that you're at least a converted try ahead. But they're going to keep on going, see what happens, see whether or not they can get themselves another try. Cheetahs need taming tonight. Yeah, they haven't looked great so far, the Cheetahs, to my surprise. I thought that they were going to come out firing in this match, but okay, referee just saying to both sides that they need to open up the gap in between. Now ready to throw this one in, and it's claimed by the Cavaliers. A little bit of an awkward bouncing ball, but Williams, the captain, picks it up close to the try line. And trying to fall over the line was Mafu, who was held up just short. September looking for the rocket pass, falling over the line. It's going to be Ashlon Davids, 2024's Cavaliers Player of the Year. And they are now making quite the statement. I think they were just asking the question of whether or not there was a grounding. I believe he was on the line, but that is going to be David's try. They're on fire here, Boland. They're going to be a side to watch out for, because the thing is, normally the team that gets promoted in the Currie Cup, we see them for a year and then they disappear. You know, the Griffins, probably a perfect example of that. Whereas, you know, if this Boland side stick around, who's going to be the side that get demoted? You know, you've got the Griquas, the Pumas, the Western Province, all sides that will be nervous, even the Sharks. Imagine a scene with the Currie Cup and no Sharks team in it. That is what these young men and the Cavaliers side can do. Great kick from Teta, right next to the sideline, and still gets it between the posts. And the Boland side now sitting 13-0 up after the 17 minutes. I was not expecting Cheetahs to not score inside 20 minutes. You see Boland every year. Says Furlan, it's looking that way. I mean, they are outclassing a Cheetahs side that some felt were definitely top 4 material for the season of the Currie Cup, and they are yet to fire in the first 17 minutes. I'm going to wait for the Sharks next week. Thanks in advance. Says Kosori. I think we've got it here somewhere. There we go. So they are away from home, the Sharks. So it will be tough for them. They've got 2 away games in a row, and then they play the Cheetahs at home on the 9th of August for you guys. And South Africa nicely controlled at the back for Sangweni, who wasn't held, so was able to go again. Moves up to 22 metres out, continues to hustle and get those couple of extra metres. Outside of the 22. And God, Lordy Hamish, give us final score prediction. Well, I'll be honest, I had no idea what to expect from this Boland side. So, nice run from the Cheetahs. Now breaking the line for the first time in this contest. They move into the 22 with a great run from Jasper. We will come back to the predictions in a very short moment. Now, Jansi van Rensburg looking to use this backline skip pass from Jansi van Veeren. Close to the sideline. Makaza driven out, but I heard a whistle. And I think that's going to be the penalty now to the Cheetahs. Never back on side for Lunathi Nklali. Never on side. This is straight out in front of the post. The Cheetahs, there's an opportunity to take 3 if they do want it. But yeah, because I had not seen this Boland side in action, I had no idea what to predict for this game. So, you know, I assumed that the Cheetahs would be the team to watch out for. But so far, they haven't shown that yet. There's still time. Another chance here to kick it towards the touchline. This time for the Cheetahs. They will be about 12 metres out from the line. Sharks social media comment section were not pretty after yesterday's defeat. People can be cruel. Yeah, social media can be absolutely terrible, to be fair. Like, we go on YouTube mainly. Other than that, I'm not really on too many other social medias that I go on actively other than messaging. But yeah, it's like that British and Irish Lions versus Australia last call. Like, that has once again split the rugby world. And unfortunately, every single weekend at the moment, we're getting split in half. Like, in terms of, like, half of the people agree, half of the people disagree. And it just continues to grow the sad negativity of like the game, which sucks because everyone loves rugby, or at least I think they do. But then it's hard to tell sometimes. Pleasantly surprised. I would love the Cheetahs to win. But Boland is really playing well. They brought their A game. Absolutely. Like they've just shown that grit and determination. We've just seen it again from Boland. There was the big number 3, Dylan van der Vesterhuizen. A rolling maul defense, and then they just powered it and worked it over the sideline. The Cheetahs, they did turn down the 3, and yet curiously, their opinions always align on what team they support. Not necessarily. I think that it doesn't. Oh, that's a poor mistake from Boland, and that will be the first try of the match for the Cheetahs. A clean run through off a mistaken line out. And I don't even know if anyone touched Marco Janssen or Jansi van Rensburg in their effort towards the try line. It was overthrown by Boland, but you can't just blame the hooker there. It was actually good pressure coming from the Cheetahs. And then just not quite slapping it back. I was in 0 Australian supporters back the try and 0 Lion supporters back that it was a penalty. Exactly. And then from a neutral standpoint, it seems to be 50-50 as well in terms of some people say yes, some people say no. And no man says Verlin, yeah, just a little bit too easy for the Cheetahs to sneak through the back of that line out. I think Currie Cup should be the time to relax, really. Maybe get worked up for URC, I guess. Says, good story, bro. Now getting ready to line up this kick, an important one for Cohen Jasper. And just gets it over, so that'll make the score now 13 points to 7. One of the first chances the Cheetahs had inside of Boland's 22. They do score. So that could be a sign of things to come. We have got there comment from an inside source, says that JP Peterson can only work with what he's given. Says Lilia B. Yeah, see, because there were a lot of confused people around the lineup. The fact that there were 7 debutants in that starting lineup for the Sharks, wondering about that selection and whether or not maybe certain players weren't in the running for it. Nicely taken by the Cheetahs. And number 13 jersey, Marco Janssen van Veerden. I don't know if it was the right call, but I had hoped Oz would win. So the third game was a decider and would have made it more exciting. Says, no, Mum. I think that the only exciting thing about this third one, of course, is the fact that it is still a test match, but also the fact that we're going to see 2 very new look sides for them because of the fact that this match now means less. You know, the Lions are going to give everyone a run. The Wallabies will probably do the same because of the Rugby Championship. So that's the only, I'd say, big benefit of it is we'll get to see 2 different looking sides face off. But yeah, I think a lot of people wanted that decider and wanted to see it, you know, go a little bit deeper in the series. But still, Australia should be very proud of what they've done in both matches. They were close and a lot closer than some people thought. The last game better be good, says Roof, and referee always gets roasted either way. Exactly right. It's a thankless job being a referee because if you've done a really good job, it's probably that still one side is penalised more, and then that one side doesn't like you. So you actually can't win. And as a referee, you could probably find 50 penalties in a game, and it's about deciding what ones you actually pull up. If Australia wins the third game now, their supporters will be even madder. Says Big Red, I would say so. That will definitely get them fired up for the Rugby Championship. Now, currently, the Cheetahs sitting 5 metres out from Boland's line. Once again, they do find themselves on the defending. The Cavaliers, someone's boot fell off. I'm not too sure whose. Oh, no, there it is. It's actually Currie, who has got the boot missing, and they'll go back for another penalty. The thing is, we all know it's down to who you are supporting. Then it seems to be about what hemisphere you are in nowadays. Says question. Yeah, for some reason, like even if you try and look at it from a neutral standpoint, people go, where are you from? And then they go, okay, so that's why you're saying that. You know, we've had it many times on the channel before that I'll cover a random game with no association to us, and I get blamed for being biased to a team, even though, you know, I'm watching it from a neutral point. And then when New Zealand play, it's just straight away assumed that I'm going to praise every single thing that they do. But that's not really the case. I'm of the personal opinion that the Aussies got a bit hard done by. There are quite a few calls that should have gone the Aussies' way. Says Mark over now, running 5 meters out from the line here. The Cheetahs onto the counter attack. Rolling maul goes down just short for Pierre Ice. Now trying to look for this ball. I think the halfback actually got pulled into that breakdown. Now pick and go. And for the turnover there with the Cavaliers. Now looking short side. That's over the line. And it will be the one boot wonder in Boland Currie who does score the try for the Cheetahs. I mentioned about being an ex-under-20 player, but now at over the 20 points scored in this contest. We're already up to 26 minutes. It's absolutely flying by in this matchup. I would have to say so far, most entertaining game of the weekend. If it continues this way, anyway. But, yeah, of course, we will have to wait and see. There we go. Fix that. Go like that. Go like that. Now, the opportunity to line up the extra two for Iasper. Cheetahs got that intercept try. Ian Springbok Sevens playing in this game. They have got Donovan Don in there as well as David Brits. So those are the two Sevens guys. The Western Province had quite a few last game. They actually had 4, although massive concern for Kua Nokia, who did end up hurting his, I think it was his lower leg with the first run that he had of the match. Zane Davids, he got himself a yellow card, the captain of the province. That kick has gone over for the Cheetahs. That man is committed to the craft. He has painted himself in black and orange, just like the Cheetahs there. We'll go like this, like that. 14 points to 13 now. The score is sitting. Which team has? So the Cheetahs have got those two. David Brits at 13, Donovan Don at number 11. Oh, sorry, other way around. It is actually Boland who have got those two. The Cheetahs, I don't believe, have any Sevens guys in there. And this might ignite Australian rugby, though. I'd be as aware as Australia now as if they have won. So yeah, it's a cool story. It can do two things. It will either like motivate them massively, or it will just end up with them going down once again a darker path. You've got there. People need to read the laws of the game. They're intricate and difficult to apply. The VS stakes online today make my brain hurt. That's yeah. The thing is though, there are in some regards, I think, like too many laws in some situations because you've got that Rassie Erasmus kickoff. That was one that people were quoting laws all over the place. And you could look at both laws and say, actually, they are correct. In this scenario, there were the comments about how for Carlo Tazzano, as a player trying to steal the ball, you're not allowed your head lower than your knees, which is what he had. So in a way, like they could say that was the penalty. You're also not allowed to strike a neck. So then that was the other law that could be interpreted. And then that one would mean that it was a penalty. So like multiple laws. Oh, that's a big takeout from one of the Cheetahs players. He just threw the halfback away. Now going around the side. Sitting 2 meters out from the line at the moment. Another advantage for the home team. Now looking for their first try in quite some time. And another penalty will be awarded. As well as laws, a lot of time it comes down to interpretation anyway. What counts as mitigation and what doesn't, for example. Exactly right. There's so much grey area, but also room for interpretation. A head below hips is law 15 for rucks. Tazzano arrived at a tackle, law 14. Says studs raised there. And we have got there, I would say the opposite. I thought the ref was pinging the Lions way more. And that's just how we see it. It's an opinion, not a fact, says Fleishan. And also, I'd rather be an Australian, or rather be in Australia than in England, says Marco. And also, we have got there, no dark paths, please. Australia to find the path of light. And 13-14. Apparently, a very close game between these two sides. 29 minutes through. The Lions were infringing more, says Big Rig Joe. Already the first half an hour of this match is just about done and dusted. Been a competitive contest, only 1 point separating them. We did have the comment there from Lilia, best quality Currie Cup match so far. Honestly, if this match continues the way that it is, and I don't want to jinx it, but if it does, this match will be it by far, I honestly feel. Like, maybe not so much the quality of rugby. I do think that the Bulls' performance up against the Western Province was really, really strong, but the competitive nature of this game, first yellow card of the day. And unfortunately, that is something that was very common across those other matches and fully cut it open. But it will be Funda Merva who is sent off the field, the number 6 for the Cheetahs. We have there, I was cheering for them, says Big Rig Joe. And also was a great game either way, says Big Rig Joe. And also Lions won, Aussie bad luck, says Ruth. Yeah, just what happened. Yeah, just the late joining into the breakdown. That's a yellow. It certainly is. And they have sent him off the field now. I mean, that Boland for the next 10 minutes, they will have themselves the advantage. I said the Cheetahs will win, says Wally. And also, it's like some other games should have, could have, but didn't. Lions come back brilliantly, says Ruth. There we go. Over 5,000 people in attendance for this contest, ladies and gents. As been mentioned, like I said, it's not too far away from... Oh, I thought for a second that was Selvin Davids in the stands, but it maybe wasn't. Just thinking with a couple of the Sevens guys in this Boland team, perhaps Davids wouldn't be a mile away from this game. It definitely was a great game, and also thought Lions had a couple of ref calls against them earlier. Says Studs Rays. Yeah, it's such a hard job being a referee. And honestly, I don't think I wish the job on my worst enemy, because, like, if you really dug deep enough, you could probably, like I said, find 50 penalties in a game. But then the referee's job, bit of back and forth there between the two loose forwards. But, like, yeah, you're just in that scenario how the more penalties a ref gives, then they also fall into the criticism of, they're not letting the game flow. But then when they let something go, people go, no, they're letting too much go. So there's a very fine line. But I don't think any referee over the last probably 5 years has got out of a game without some people criticizing their performance. But now, nicely taken. And the refs also do get a lot of stick for what the TMO does too. I feel like sometimes the ref get too much stick for when the match official jumps in. Backline movement here for Boland. Oh, that was almost a drop ball. But David Britt scores it. It was almost a massive mistake from Nkale, who did decide that he wanted to give a try to one of his teammates, but they will take the lead with the man advantage. And that is a perfect time to be able to score. Definitely if they can follow it up with one or two more. You said it earlier, Amish fewer laws, simplify the game, help the refs, please. And then that also does help people viewing it too. Because, if I feel like rugby is one of the most intricate sports in terms of that law book. Because, for instance, you look at I know that people hate this comparison, but football. Yes, the VAR gets involved, but that's only really for stuff that involves that foul play. But most of the time with football, you know what's happening. Whereas in rugby, as soon as it hits that breakdown, it seems to be that's where it just goes completely all over the place. And it could be it's even just like a forward pass, for instance, with that back of the hands, the hands going backwards in the pass. That is something that I think over 50% of people don't understand. But then, do you want a law that can be interpreted 50-50, or do you want something that seems 100% certain that makes it so much easier to be able to follow for just some random person to pick up rugby and start watching? Especially when the bunker makes the call. Says Marco, wasn't missed. The kick was successful from Boland there, so they will now lead this match 20 points to 14, still with a man advantage for that little bit longer. Cricket has a review system to control our really poor decisions. Why not in rugby, says Gareth. Oh, another breaking line. We'll come back to that in a very short moment, because all of a sudden the Cavaliers move up to 22 metres out. Great drag down tackle. In fact, no, it was a little bit too high on Quincy Mafu. The backline movements again. David's going on the outside to the try scorer. Brett's ball back on the inside, and they will score again, the Cavaliers. And that is how you make the most of a yellow card. And the Cavaliers, 2 quick back-to-back fire tries. And this time it is going to be the double for Ashlon Davids. Gets the assist from another David and David Brits. But that was just a big run down the field from, I think it was it Clameni or was it actually Quincy Mafu? They are saying it's Clameni, but I could be wrong. But yeah, doing very well there for the Cavaliers, finding a gap. And then Ashlon Davis, a clinical try scorer, does it again. But yeah, I think the reason that they don't have that review system, just to go back to that, is because in rugby, they've tried to make it that the referees can't be criticised. If they had a review system, the thing is, they want to keep the game flowing quickly, and there would be so many decisions that get ruled out and changed because of being checked. So, they tried the captain's challenge. That worked relatively well, but then the more times that they could captain's challenge, because every time the ref got it wrong, they got their review back. And there were some games where you saw 5 or so times in a row that the ref was wrong, and that's not a great look. But then that's also not good that a referee can be wrong so many times and nothing happens. I kind of like that rule. It means the TMO doesn't get involved all the time. Only when the team demands it, says Big Rick. And I want ref as God. Really just like captains getting in the ref's face, says Studs Race. That game between the Lions and the Australians, that one was probably a pretty bad example of captains getting right up and trying to influence the decision, like both sides in that contest. And that is another kick out on the full from the Cheetahs. That is now 2 times in this game that Ethan Wenzel has tried to go deep, but has completely missed the field. We have there, why not just make limited captain's challenges, and also when a ref makes mistakes, hold them accountable, says Marco. That's something, though, that I don't think they will do. I like the idea of a captain's challenge, because it does mean that if a decision is bad and that it is wrong, then, that's actually, corrected. But at the same time, World Rugby, the whole way through, have always said our referees cannot be, they cannot be touched. They cannot be talked about by, even a coach. After a game, you're not allowed to say anything about the ref, because if you do, you're going to get yourself in a big play or going to get yourself in trouble. A player isn't allowed to comment on the referee's performance, because or else then they do get sometimes something quite serious. They get fined, they get all that sort of thing. So, nice backline movement again here for the Cavaliers. Nice step from Donovan Don, and he's just dropped the ball, and it will go over the try line. But they will go back now for the Cheetahs scrum. But all of a sudden, the Cavaliers with the one-man advantage have just decided to keep on going. I thought it couldn't get any worse after 2022 Bernard Foley heartbreak. And here we are, says Xavier. Yeah, I think that was an outstanding second test that ended on, sadly, a little bit of a rough note in terms of the fact that we had to have a TMO decision for it. Because if the Lions had just scored with nothing beforehand, I feel like it would have been right. What a finish to the match. Heartbreak for the Wallabies, but, it still would have been, it would have been a better way for it to end than the TMO in there as well. I'm a former ref, never minded the criticism after the game. It's on-field dissent that affected my reffing. Yeah, see, no referee wants to have players constantly in their face, and it's the ones who aren't captains who come over and sneak a word in every once in a while that I think really do annoy the refs. The captains normally get a little bit of leniency to a certain extent, but not just get in your face all the time, and definitely nowhere near pro, says Thuds Ray. And taking Skelton and Bobby V off killed us. Yeah, I have no idea why they took off Rob Bellatini at halftime. Was he injured, or was it just a tactic? Because if it was a tactic, it was a very bad one. Now, currently 100 seconds remaining of the Cheetahs yellow card of Gideon Fundermerva. He's got a big smile on his face, which is I get that, normally, I don't know. I don't like watching a player who's sent off the field having a chat with one of his teammates with a big smile. I feel like, that's supposed to be the naughty chair. You're supposed to think about your actions and not do it again, rather than having fun on the sideline while your team are conceding because of your mistake. Is it just me, or should Max Jorgensen be the fullback for the Waratahs next season? Get his tailor-made for the 15 jersey, blistering pace, elite footwork. Oh, nice footwork here coming from the Cavaliers, sitting 1 meter out from the try line, back across to the left. September tried to go short ball to Mapu, and it is dropped. Now, we'll go back for the Cheetah scrum. 5 meters out from their line. The Australians are very much hard done by. They definitely shoulder onto the head. The referee probably doesn't like the Australians, says Mornay. I think it was just, yeah, like I said, it was an unfortunate way for that match to end because of what had been a very entertaining up till that point. But it also wasn't great the fact that the commentators for Australia were also going, that was a terrible decision from the ref. He's cost the Wallabies the tour. Because, like, of course, the players and the coaches aren't allowed to say things about the refs, but the commentators were well and truly ripping into him. And at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's not life or death. Those players were having a beer together after, whilst we were all arguing on social media. Yeah, honestly, this is going to be a bold take. And, you know, you can disagree if you like, but I think that sports betting has kind of ruined sport in terms of people are way more passionate about it now because if they've put a whole heap of money on and a ref's decision costs them their money because of their bad call of what to back, like, I just think that people gamble on sport far too much now, and it kind of ruins it because no one just gets to sit and enjoy because they're constantly sweating about the money that they're going to lose and having to explain to their wife how they, you know, they spent the rent money for this week on a game that is unpredictable. But half time in this contest, ladies and gentlemen, that ball has gone dead, so we will quickly update the score sheet, but sitting 27 points to 14 at the moment. 3 tries to 2, so plenty of chance for the bonus points in this contest too. They will need 4 or more tries to be able to receive that bonus point. Currently, the Cavaliers sitting in a very nice position to be able to do just that. Did you see the Cheetahs winning versus 15, or do you see the Cheetahs winning with 15 versus 15? I think that the Cheetahs were a little bit slow to find their rhythm in the first half, but once they do in the second half, I think that the Cavaliers, they'll be happy to have this 13-point lead, but it may not quite be enough. They will want one more try, although they have been looking very strong on attack at this point. Hamish, I think the winners of the Currie Cup will definitely be the Bulls. And we have good here in the UK. There was a formal investigation into a goalkeeper eating a pie at halftime because of gambling, says Big Rig Joe. So, like, was there a bet that said he would eat the pie or something, and then he did, or was it just something to do with something else? We have got there. Unfortunately, if you throw away such a big lead in the first place, you can't complain about losing a close game with a single call. South Africans had to suffer heartbreak for years with bad calls at the end of the game, says Marco. And I agree 100, says Lilia there. We have got there, but it's a part of life in the sport. And our big lead, says Roof. And also Jack Morgan legit goes off his feet and wraps his arms around Tizano's legs. Surely I'm not the only one, but that's a penalty to Australia, no. Says Xavier, yeah, it's been heavily debated. And I think it will be all throughout the series, and also depending on what it would be, or I think the debate will continue after that third test, depending on the result. We have there, but he actually ate a pie at halftime and got suspended because there was a bet that he would be seen eating a pie. He was chubby for a football player. You see, that's a weird thing to be able to bet on, though. Yep, former gambler. I tried starting a YouTube channel giving rugby gambling tips. Hated it. Ruined me ruined me enjoying the game. Girlfriend told me to flag the gambling and tipping. Says Suds Race. But yeah, like, I think I tried, like, the TAB gave me a bonus bet for one game. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And, you know, I backed just a random guy to score a try. And the whole game, you just sit there and you focus on just the one thing. And it sucks because, you know, if you end up, you know, he gets injured, he goes off and you go, oh, that's my money gone. And then you just, like, I am impressed with people who can do it, but I just can't bet and watch a game. Like, if you were ever going to bet, I would much prefer doing it on something I'm not going to watch, but then you're just throwing away your money because you're probably going to lose. But, like, I couldn't, like, handle the stress of sitting there knowing that, like, we have people in the chat all the time, you know, who say, oh, I've got all my, like, you know, my month's rent on one team, and then they lose. And then they go, oh, why'd that happen? It's like, well, it's unpredictable. Rugby's too hard to try and guess. Absolutely gambling is a killer. Says Blession. And gambling can get you in trouble, and Lions will achieve the first ever tour whitewash. I've actually seen YouTubers, sports streamers receive very nasty comments because gamblers place the bet on their predictions, and then they get hate for being wrong. I mean, we get that as well on stream from, like, if someone says, "Who do you think's going to win?" and I think it's just like a light, just a light question. Like, I learned that a long time ago because, someone will be like, "Who do you think's going to win this game?" And I'd say, "Oh, I think this side's got a decent chance." And then you get a message after the game and they say, "Hey, they lost. You cost me a whole heap of money," and then insert abusive statement afterwards. So I got used to not giving predictions because people put all their money on it going, "Oh, this guy, he does a few commentaries. He must know something." I know absolutely nothing. Never gamble, or rather spend the money to donate to streamers who deserve it, like people like you, says Xavier. And it is always greatly appreciated when you pop in. Like, there are times where we haven't seen you for a month and you'll pop in and you'll just donate 50 and I'll be like, okay, like Xavier's back. But yeah, like I wouldn't be able to be any more than $1 on anything without being stressed. And the goalie pie thing is actually on YouTube, says Fleshin, and full time 27. Oh, whoops, hang on. We got to change that. I wrote full rather than half time. Go like this. Thank you for the correction, because that would have got me in a bit of trouble again. There we go. Look at that. It would have been a very difficult, or very much different. If it was the decider 1-1, it would have been a different game. And also, no gambling website or bookie is designed to lose money, says Big Rig. And also, I've got loads on the Cheetahs, says Jack there. And there was, or wasn't there a guy ages ago that I saw on your stream? I always gamble big time. There was. Although he was, I think I know who you're talking about. I won't like name drop them, but he was actually, if it's the right one, he was in a financial position where he could afford to lose money. Like, he was doing very well for himself. So in that case, if that's what you want to do with your money rather than buying a car or something, maybe you buy 2 cars if you win. But like, it's the ones that do it when they know that they have to win, or else like their life changes for the worse. Like, it's those ones that I always go, "Oh, just don't do it. Just keep your money." I can't gamble on any team. I want to win. I can't even vote in one of the polls, says Fleshin. And howdy all, says Mike. Now, we are just looking at a few of the bits of information. No 5+ phases here for the Cheetahs at the moment. I'm stressing I got £500 on the Cheetahs to win. Back only $750, $250 profit. Or sorry, pound profit. I got to lose by the look, says Jack. And gambling isn't even fun. Like, pokies are boring to play, to be honest, says Xavier. Yeah, see, I like blackjack, but only on like GTA, because it's not my real money. But like, yeah, it's too stressful. I feel like there are better things to do with your time than be stressed. That seems like a bit of life knowledge from someone who's a lot older than me. But, life's short. You got to enjoy it. And hi, Hamish and everyone. I clean forgot about this game. How dare I? Says Rhea. And the Lions might have beaten Australia. Be very different in 4 years' time when the All Blacks face the British and Irish Lions. And I play way too much poker on Red Dead Redemption 2. And did George Gamble feel like he wouldn't mind a bet here and there? He actually doesn't, believe it or not. Like, he just doesn't like it. Not that I know of anyway. And I don't know whether or not that's just because he doesn't know how to do it. But, like, he's never been one for gambling. Like, I can get what you're saying, because he does seem like someone who would take a lot of risks in life. And he probably gambles on other things, just not in like actual pokies and that sort of thing. We have got the system, or the season I tipped the URC Gallagher Premiership, top 14 and Heineken Cup winners right. Completely missed Crusaders winning Super Rugby Pacific. Thought Ireland will win the Six Nations, 4 from 6. 0 thanks, all hate for the 2 wrong. Yeah. So, it's one of those ones how when you get it right, people are your best friend, but they don't tell you. And then when you get it wrong, they certainly let you know about it. Do you think the Currie Cup season is important for the Cheetahs' potential Super Rugby campaign? I think so. I think that they definitely want to be up there in terms of, well, honestly, if they want to join Super Rugby, they actually probably need to win the Currie Cup, which I know sounds bad, but if they want to make the argument that that's going to be the competitive, because we've got to remember Super Rugby and the URC are that level, And then you've got the provincial ones with the Currie Cup as well as Bunnings NPC. So if the Cheetahs can show that they are the best in the provincial competition, then that means that they should be able to compete with the Super Rugby level. Now, I'm not saying that's where they are exactly in terms of team rankings, but it would look very good for the Cheetahs if they had the accolade under their belt to be able to say, look, we can bring this to the table. We're the champs of the Currie Cup. We have enough talent, enough depth to be able to compete. I gamble playing Gwent the Witcher. I won't gamble my real money. I'd feel physically ill if I lost, says Chantel. And we have got there. You think Suaalii is overrated? I don't know if he's overrated. I think he's just finding his feet because he can have some very good moments. But so far throughout the British and Irish Lions tour, with the exception of that big line break that he had, which did actually set up the try, he got the assist to, was it Tom Wright who scored that one in the end? But, you know, with the exception of that one, he does just seem a little bit unsure about what he wants to do and where he's going to be in that Wallabies backline. I do think that him and Lena Cattell, though, is a combination that in the future might be able to work. That second half, it's not too far away. I didn't realize we'd be giving life lessons and whatnot at halftime. I guess this is the stuff that we randomly talk about at 2 a.m. But anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciate you all being here. We are hoping to cover quite a bit of the Currie Cup throughout this season. We have good there, strip poker, losing your pants, says Ruth there. You are assuming I already had some on. Some Aussie fans thought he would be like Falau this Lions tour. Hard to be like Falau. When he's arguably the best attacker ever in rugby, says Xavier. Yeah, maybe in the future, you know, Suaalii will develop into, you know, that type of player, but he needs time. Like, we've got to remember, he's still, like, since the World Cup, how many test matches has he had? I think maybe like 5-ish, maybe even less than that. So, yeah, I think Suaalii just needs that little bit more time to develop. And he will get better as, you know, he grows. Because we've got to remember, he's also very young, isn't he? I don't know why, but every time I look at him, I think he's about 27, but he's actually like, what, not, or 20, 21 or something like that, Joseph Suaalii at the moment. I'll have a quick look. Joseph Suaalii, he is, 21 years of age. 1st of August, 2003. It's almost his birthday. And we have got there, Hamish, stop teasing and show us. There's Lilia B. And the main problem with combined teams to form a stronger team is they need to relocate for the whole season. Might be too long for most players, says Xander. It is a tricky one, definitely because of how far away South Africa is from New Zealand, Australia, Fiji, Samoa, and whatnot. We have got there, I know someone who has bet a sports car on a match and lost the car, handed the keys over crying, says Ruth. And yeah, there are unfortunately so many stories like that. Yes, you hear the occasional one where someone's got lucky and they've, you know, actually like done well from it, but a majority of them don't, unfortunately. Can New Zealand beat British and Irish Lions? I'm not totally impressed with the British and Irish Lions. The All Blacks have a very good chance of beating the Lions, says Mornay. And also we have got there Big All, but Max Jorgensen is better than Suaalii. I think that in certain aspects he is. I think that if you're looking at someone, though, who's going to power over the defence, I think Suaalii has them beat just for now, but I think Jorgensen will step around the defence that little bit better because he has, although that big fend off down the wing one, oh no, he ate the fend. That was actually a first test match, but he did get that high ball. Max Jorgensen, we're kicking off for the second half, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back underway for this matchup. What we will quickly do is we will get the scoreboard back on the road. One moment, like that, and like that, and like that. There we go. My dad owes my brother $1 million because they made a bet on State of Origin in the 90s. Still hasn't paid. Says Studs Race. Paul Hamish, is that appropriate, ladies? I did actually bring it up, though, didn't I? So it was my own fault. I would also love to see Jorgensen as fullback. Says Xavier. Another penalty, this time going the way of Boland Kavaliers. This one's sitting about 13. Oh, no, it might be a little bit less than that, actually, from the line. Hey, dangerous clean out from number 4. That is against Pieter Janssen van Veeren. And also we have got the I made a £200 bet with a co-worker years ago. I won and then never saw him again. says Big Rig. One kick towards the touchline for the Cavaliers. So going aggressive. They haven't got the man advantage anymore, but they have got a 13-point lead. True walked into that one. Says Lilia B. And also one of my cats is complaining. He says, I watch too much rugby. He wants food. Says Ruth. Yeah. Some cats just like food very much. Like humans. You know. They like every hour. Now, throwing this one in. Oh, not the best jump there. He actually tried to leap up for Michael Bernardi, and they never threw him. He kind of had to jump himself. Could have fed him at halftime, to be fair. Says Big Rig. But now, rolling ball here. September. Hanging on to this ball at the back. We never worked out where that man had also played in his rugby side of things. Oh, ball ripped straight off him. And the Cheetahs managed to take it back. Good position on the field. Actually, when you think about it, if you gambled 100 this year when you bought rugby, or you gambled 100 this year when you bought Rugby 25 from Big Ant, not knowing if you will lose their money with a higher chance of game being bad and losing money. Says Xavier. Yeah, I guess you could say that one was just throwing money away. I actually bought Rugby League Live as well. I shouldn't have. But they had that thing how it was if you downloaded it before a certain day, you get 24,000 of those special currency. And then I tried playing a couple matches and just hated it. But I have 24,000 of that currency, so I can buy some packs at some point, which is also a form of gambling, isn't it? But looks like a bit of a cut here on the eye of one in Rosper, I should say. And every 20 minutes, Hamish, says Ruth. And I thought Max Jorgensen was great yesterday. I was surprised to find out he's actually English, says Fleshen. And it blows my mind that we're in 2025 and they can't make a proper rugby game, says Marco. It looks like they are actually going to make this quick change. Is Losper... Yep, Losper's gone off and Nunu has gone on. I'm actually grumpy about that now, thanks, says Marco. And then they just kind of gave up on it, didn't they? They had all the licenses. They had all the fundamentals that could have turned it into a great game, and they just threw it away. There's a knock on now. They'll probably add Pro Team in next just to have a bit of fun with it. Yep. On off to the left-hand side. Then 22 metres out from the line. Chiswell September. Back across now, finding the hands of Sangweni. A lot more possession in this game going the way of the Cavaliers. We've got a stoppage here. Oh. I think that is actually Ashlon Davids, who is down with an injury. Same with Peter Janssen van Vieren. He does not look in a good way either. Looks like his knee is done for. Greetings from Cape Town, and how are you doing, Kevin? Says Ruth. Like they've just said, doesn't look too good in terms of that landing. Might not be too flash for the lot. We've actually seen a couple injuries throughout this weekend of the Currie Cup already, which is a bit of a shame. So 3 changes are about to be made by the Cheetahs, though, trying to find some sort of difference. We have good there. I would pay 200 if it meant we could get it made by EA. I'm sure rugby fans would too, says James. Well, that's the thing. Even if they could do a that man almost did the splits, and locks aren't normally that flexible. Definitely not with all the tape on. But yeah, like if they could reskin Rugby 08 and have that same kind of way that it was playing, with a couple updates, of course, along the way, and then just all the new face players and everything like that. You know, the world mode and all that sort of thing. Like, I think people would have been happy enough, but I don't know why they couldn't do that. And we have got the NRL talk to EA to make it. It was 60 million to make it. Yeah, and unfortunately, that is going to be hard to make back. Although I did see they sold like about 100 and how much was it? 190,000 copies of Rugby League 26. That might be a wrong number, but that's like a decent amount. Although for EA, they would have wanted to sell millions of copies, of course. Which is going to be hard to do. But then if it's a good game, people might buy it. Chance of the Cheetahs winning, says Takalani. They aren't out of this game yet. They've made some bad decisions. They had a yellow card that cost them 2 tries, but their attack has still been strong enough that if they can find some sort of rhythm here, they could get back into this contest. But if Boland score again, they might have a bit too much work to do. But, that first half, I think the thing that hurt them the most was just kicking the ball out on the full off kickoffs. There were twice or 2 times that they did that. I never understood sports gaming too old, I guess, as I played Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3, etc. So as in, like, you don't understand playing a sports game, that's right, or just the making of them, I guess. I could do a wacky arcade, or they could do a wacky arcade rugby game like Arch Rivals, FIFA Street, Mario Soccer, or WWE All Stars. I think they've got. It's not like a well-known one, but it's kind of like a more indie style game with much worse graphics. I think there is one kind of like that, but I don't think it's very good. And now I'm back across to the left-hand side. Now bumping off the tackle attempt was Cheetahs. Told to get out of there now. Stepping sideways at Boland Currie. Off to the left-hand side, no look pass, and there were players ready for it, but just knocked on by the Cavaliers again. Rugby Union could get 500k plus. Was released by EA in the month before the Rugby World Cup, and people get to promote and get people to promote it first. Like yourselves, the Rugby guy, and Max Brown, and yourself. Says James there. And Crash Bandicoot 2 was a GOAT candidate game. Sorry, I have never actually played those games, believe it or not. I don't know why. I see them advertised. Are the new ones just as good, or are they like bad? We have got there. Didn't get the enjoyment factor. Like I would rather actually play the sport. To get that's the me thing. Clearly very popular. See, I'm a bit the same with certain sports games. Like, to be honest, the likes of a UFC or a WWE game, I don't like as much, but I prefer watching them both as is. FIFA, though, I hate playing by myself. But me and my dad, we've done like a career mode on FIFA ever since about FIFA 15. I feel like that's our kind of little thing in terms of gaming. So for that reason, I like it. But outside of playing alongside him, I don't play it at all. Like we just play it for the career mode side of things. Now going to be kicked downfield. Cohen Jasper, nicely controlled there by Davids. Did have an injury earlier on, but it was a poor pass to Donovan Don, who couldn't quite clean it up. The Wii Sports Original will always be the GOAT. Sports game, and I'll die on that hill, says Xavier Brown. I still remember me and George. We recorded an unreleased, like I didn't post it anywhere, but me and him were trying for a few hours to get a hole-in-one on Wii Sports. And he goes, I think he went home at the time that I was still attempting it. But we've got like 3 hours of footage somewhere. I just never released it. There's a lot of hidden stuff that haven't turned into videos. We bought a tandem bicycle. That didn't go well. The back wheel snapped in half while we were on it. Luckily, we weren't going very quick. We had an Easter egg hunt that never got released. There's a whole heap of random stuff on that hard drive. It is good if you don't play with yourself. Trust me, too many ladies around for that, says Kevin. But now, Cheetahs with the position, sitting about 40 metres out from the line. Wide cut-out pass there. And now an attacking chance for Makazo, who is close to the sideline again. They're trying very hard. Every time they're in that wide channel, the Boland Kavaliers just try and push them over the sideline, which has been a good tactic and effective so far. I'm going back across to the left-hand side. I see taken. Jancy van Veeren, low tackle on him. Trying to get that steal on the breakdown, unable to do so. Quick hands from the Cheetahs. Makaza has a slip. Still moving forward. 25 metres out now. Currie had scored the try earlier on for the Cheetahs. They still need 2 more tries. And the knock-on coming in the breakdown. However, their Cheetahs need another try. They certainly do. And what do you think of South Africa as under-20 champions? It's 13 years ago since South Africa last won this competition. 13 years too long. Yeah, Andre Pollard actually in the under-20s when they did win it last. So that tells you how long ago that was. But, thoroughly deserved. They were what I feel the best team throughout the whole competition. And I know that New Zealand were in the final and I should be sticking with them. But no, I thought South Africa from start to finish, once they beat England, they were definitely the ones to beat. As this Cheetahs squad was excited, expecting a little more, to be honest. they've got their fair mixture of their top guys in there, which is why it's a little bit confusing about why it hasn't been going too well, but maybe just a bit of rust. Right, time is back on. I'm still laughing. I reckon the best bet for a rugby video game is to invest in Rugby Challenge. It's the last good game since Rugby 08, says James. You see, every once in a while, I'll play a bit more of Rugby Challenge 4 just to see how it is. Like, of course, there's no more updates coming out for that game, but I still don't mind it. Like, on the hardest difficulty, if you get your sliders right, it can be quite the competitive challenge up against the top teams. It's just a shame that now those are outdated players a little bit. Now ready to feed this ball in. It will be September. I think about, let's say, 30 metres out from their own line here, the Cavaliers. And a big push coming from the Cheetahs early there at scrum time, but somehow getting the ball out for September. But that front row being replaced by the Cheetahs has made all the difference for their scrums. Ball sits up now for Jasper. Puts it high, beautifully running onto it for Donovan Don, but he knocks the ball on. And we'll see now a Cheetah scrum, and they will have the feed. Whoops, Cavaliers says Roof there. And also we have better names than the French name for the English, says Fleshin. And we have got there Kevin Ladies play with knobby stuff all the time. These controllers, says Ruth. And we have reached the 50-minute mark in this game. It's been flying by. We have been updating the timer as we go, so hopefully it hasn't been too noticeable when it does fall behind a little bit. I'm going a little bit ahead just so that I don't get too far behind. This is the last game of this round. What we will do while the scrum is setting, these are the upcoming games that are taking place of the Currie Cup. We are hoping to cover, I would say, 2 of the games next week, maybe 3 if we are lucky. So be sure to stick around for those matches. Now, big scrum from the Cheetahs. They have got themselves the penalty advantage going off to the left-hand side here. Now, another step. Back on the inside for Van Vieren, who does get driven into touch, but they'll go back for that advantage. Scrum penalty has been a dangerous one for the Cheetahs in the second for rugby. You have to remember Andre Pollard was only 18 years old since South Africa last won this competition. There's Mono Lagrange, and yeah, he's certainly a lot older than that now. I'm thoroughly impressed with Boland's defense. Anytime, like I said, the Cheetahs are on the outside, 5 meters of the field, they get driven out every single time. That kick has gone not into touch. Big mistake there from the Cheetahs. The ball bouncing about a meter in field and then going straight up and not going out. So now ball there for September. Trying to jump up and block that one. Oh, no, 13's offside. I believe that was against David Britt's going a little bit too early. Early in front of the kicker, so now the penalty goes the way of the Cheetahs. They will have another opportunity to kick this towards the sideline. Now, getting ready to throw this one in soon will be Marco Jansi van Rensburg. He has also been able to score himself a try in this contest. Oh, yeah, no, that was actually not number 14. Or sorry, it was not 13. It was actually 14. Titus was offside by quite some margin. We have got there, I've got some chocolate left. Cadbury Whole Nuts. Says Roof. Looks like now another couple changes being made for the Cavaliers side. I've got Van Skor making his way on at 16. Nunu was already on. Lawrence Victor, I think, has also made his way onto the park too. And we do see Marsh going on as well. Now throwing this one in for the Cheetahs, taking 22 metres out to the line, back across to the right-hand side in the middle of the park. This is where they need the try to be scored clear. Playing half-back, back across to the right-hand side, attack and run from Sekaketi. See Mitchell also onto the field. That is for Tita, who I thought actually had a pretty solid game from the back here for the Boland Kavaliers. 10 metres out from the line. Another step attempted by the Cheetahs. Across, just a pass a little bit behind Majima. Good defense. Once again, Cavaliers not budging too easily, but the Cheetahs still want those 2 extra bonus points. And the second half, man, says Chantel and South African fans are all worried about the crowd sizes and URC and Currie Cup so far. Says Thuds Rays. Well, I think it's just across all competitions around the world at the moment, there have been some concerns. And yes, some comps do a lot better than others when it comes to the attendance. I think it's just the fact that anytime that competitions get good attendance, they up the price of tickets and then they lose that attendance. You know, Bunnings NPC in New Zealand, probably a great, or in fact, no, sorry, Super Rugby, a great example of that. We do see actually Collecting Blumekes now making his way onto the field. Here's the man who I mentioned. And for the Stormers, he doesn't get a huge amount of game time. He's the guy who's just about that next in line, but never quite gets it. And then, of course, with the Bok, with Valimza, with Sasha Feinberg, Ngame Zulu, that kind of ties up that 10, 12, 15 jersey for a while. And what a Kalant there as well for the Stormers. So Blomeke's normally that third choice for fullback. Now ball's going in. And the penalty to the Cheetahs. Their Boland scrum's really struggling. And I think that's something that a lot of these other sides will look at and go, we can make the most of it. There's some great scrummaging sides in this comp. I'm not sure what it is about this Boland scrum that has been making it struggle today. Oh, yeah, there. AEW did the exact same thing. They sold out like 70,000 tickets at Wembley. They massively shot up their prices, now getting like 2,000-3,000 at events, says Big Rig Joe. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that the greed does kind of take over. Like WWE, they're lucky because they've got enough people that will still go. But, you know, around, I think WrestleMania, I heard that people were paying like $50,000 US for a ticket to be able to sit near the front row. And it's like, that's just insane. But then people are willing to pay that much. So that's the problem as well. Now, oh, big shot coming in on the Cheetahs, couple meters out from the try line. Boland Kavaliers having to defend, and they have given away another penalty advantage now. Now, just getting that little bit closer to the try line. Cheetahs with the cross kick attempted and over the head of the winger. So we'll go back for yet again another penalty. And where can I Google it, Big Rig? And Cheetahs better start kicking it, otherwise it's over. And well, says Thuds Race. Yeah, some people just love spending money for the sake of spending money. And that's where they can afford to like put those prices that high. But like for the average Joe trying to go to a Super Rugby game, you know, you don't want to pay $100 for a ticket way up in the stand. You know, 25, 30 bucks, get you in the seat. Maybe you buy some food at the ground. Maybe you buy a t-shirt. And then, you know, like you might go back. Whereas if you've been charged a huge amount of money and the game's average, you're not going to go back. The Cheetahs aren't playing their best game, says Chantel. And what are your thoughts on the next for the next upcoming Rugby Championship? I'm excited. I think it should be relatively competitive. Oh, big line out attempt there for Boland to try and steal. And the ball is still on the side of the Cheetahs. Only 56 minutes through this contest. They have been on attack for much more of the second half than they were in the first. Ball coming out the back there. They're trying to get it moving for Currie. And off to the left-hand side, does find Pierre Ice. Now left-hand side and behind. Almost a tackle off the ball on Blumekes. Cheetahs, they are making consistently 1 or 2 meters each carry at the moment. Now again, back across to the replacement 16 for the Cheetahs. Now a little chip attempted in behind from Wenzel. Awkward bouncing ball. Oh, he's got the try down. That was a weird one because he jumped to take the catch. Donovan Don caught him like he was his baby. And then he went, well, what am I supposed to do now? He's not on the ground. So he started trying to take him towards the dead ball line, but he did drop Karel Young Kutsia, who does get the drive for the Cheetahs. And that was a weird one. And I have to say that's the first time I've seen a player like he just got caught by Donovan Don, and then like he was just a bit too heavy for him, I think. So he ended up putting him down. He tried to push him more towards the dead ball area. Spent more, $400 on average seats to U2 in 2019. Still unsure if it was worth it. Says Studs Rays. Yeah, see, even questioning whether it was worth it probably tells you a little bit, I'd say. But like it's still an experience, isn't it? And you know, what else would you have bought with that money? Well, the Currie Cup, the ticket prices are reasonable, and its prices, but the prices of the food, snacks hit you hard. Most of their safety issues are plus there are safety issues at most stadiums. There's Lilia B. I got decent tickets at Twickenham for England versus Italy for £110. It's not too bad. To be fair, like compared to some of the prices I've heard at Twickenham, like there was someone who said they tried to get the family of 4 there, and it was going to cost them £1,000. And then, like for the British and Irish Lions tour, for a front row seat or somewhere in that front section, I think it was about 700 Australian dollars. So that's probably around £350 per person. Nicely taken. Oh, big shot on Blumikis. And the Boland website ticket prices, £0 for a pensioner, 40 Rand general access. Keep costs affordable to local supporters, good on them. Yeah, that's about as cheap as it will be for a lot of locations. And half the time, you know, when you're paying 40 Rand, it's a little bit similar to going down and watching a team on a Saturday here. I think it's maybe like for the seniors to watch them play is a $5, what I would almost consider it as a $5 donation to the club. You know, and you don't mind doing that if you know that it's going straight back to the club anyway. But you know, if it was $50 to go down and watch the local club and you don't know where it's going, like that's when it's like not so good. But at least, you know, it's great to see that such a large amount of support has come out for Boland. They mentioned about the 5,000 in attendance. And I know that some people would say, oh, that's not many. But, you know, for a side that this is their first Currie Cup game, you know, it will only grow from here if they are showing the type of play that they've had throughout this match. Like they're looking like a competitive side. They might need a bigger stadium if they're not careful. Going up for it. Donovan Don not able to take it cleanly, but the score at the moment is separated by the 6 points, ladies and gentlemen. So we will quickly change that scoreboard. It is sitting 27 points to 21. Backline movement here for the Cheetahs again, who will kick it in mine. Cross kick attempted. Awkward bouncing ball and just not sitting up for Barney Brits. Does get it into touch. And fantastic, says Ruth. You know, if it's 2 strong teams, it's going to sell out, says Big Rig. While it was Rob yesterday, shame on the ref, says Kevin. It was their Joshua Tree tour, and I had to go. They didn't come to New Zealand very often. Says Studs Race. Yeah, see, sometimes it's the rarity of it that ends up making it a bit more pricey too. Just not able to take it cleanly there for Bunny Brits. Would have loved nothing more than to be able to hang on to that one. And fantastic adults royalty act like Apelix a lot of the time, says Ruth. But this has been, I would say, match of the weekend so far. And not just because it is the closest game that we have seen, but both sides have thrown a lot of good stuff in there. I've got there, let's go. The Cheetah says Camo. Right, we'll go like this. And like that. I'm trying to see whether or not they have got live odds for this one in terms of Boland now favourites. Like this. Is it going to let me? Right, Boland's slight favourites at this point in time, I see. Only slight. Now, remembering they came in as underdogs at the start of this game, it just shows how competitive they have been in a match like this. We have there. Well, I stepped away to check on the waters and the Cheetah score, says Chantel. Oh, what type of sausage is it, Chantel? Because we were talking about them all throughout yesterday. I learned about drawers and I learned about Boravos. Boravos, I think it was. So which one out of those two have you got? Out of curiosity. Because I think I've learnt the difference. The one that's dried is the draw, and the one that's kind of normal sausage and long and round and whatnot is the Boravos. We have got there. What you doing? in a Currie Cup brew. This is a committed Kiwi. Says 1 p.m. Yeah, it's currently 2:30 a.m. here in New Zealand almost, and I have work tomorrow morning. So that was a interesting choice, I must add. Now ready to feed this ball in will be Boland Kavaliers, and the penalty goes the way to the Cheetahs again at scrum time. That's about the third or fourth penalty. It's Boravos and Hawk Bangers. Sergeant Dell. Yeah, the scrum has just not really worked out. It's one collecting Blumikis. Now kicks that one. Oh, I think they thought it went dead there, some of the Cavaliers players. What's the weather like down in New Zealand? It's currently 4 degrees Celsius, and I think it's going to be frosty tomorrow morning. But hopefully it's like not too bad. And we'll warm up a bit before work. We're going to throw this one in now for the Cheetahs, 5 meters out from the line. Oh, now that's been just as successful as... Oh, okay, rolling maul here over the line, and the Cheetahs now have the chance to take the lead. Gideon van der Merwe, the man who scores it, but they have been persistent in trying to get back into this game. And the thing is now for the Cheetahs, even if they were to lose, they will get at least 1 point for the 4 tries scored. Currently 26 points to 27. That is really well done by the Cheetahs, just dominating at scrum time, continuing to grow into this match. Cheetahs are hungry, says Big Rig. You know, they had to come out second half and to make sure that they were going to be aggressive from the get-go. We have got there. Hamish, put some pants on. It's cold there. We've got at least one more in us. Says Camo there, and that kick has gone over, which will now give the lead to the Cheetahs for the first time in this game, I believe. I don't think they've actually had a lead up till this point, have they, for the Cheetahs? So 28 points to 27. Now just the 15 minutes left on the clock too, and good luck making it to work, says Camo there in try time. We've got at least one more in us. Well, I do hope, that's the thing, Boland, if they are going to lose this game, oh no, not gone from Clayton Blumikis. Now, ball back there for the Cavaliers at scrum time. But yeah, if they're going to lose this game, I would actually really not like it if they didn't get the bonus point. In fact, I think they deserve 2 bonus points. 1 for the 4 tries, 1 for being within 7. If they can get that from this game, if they do lose, I would be happy. The Cheetahs now will get minimum, I would like to think, 2 points from this game as well. Handling errors is 5 and 5. That dropped from Clayton Blumikis. He was looking straight into the sun. That makes it a little bit different, or makes it a little bit difficult. Now, Boland Kavaliers. Same still pantless, good grief session. Just talking about Kavaliers as a talented player. Okay, so they're actually saying that September was originally going to be off the bench for this game. And again, the Cheetahs get the penalty in the front rows. They tried to get that ball out as quickly as possible, but it's just brutal at scrum time. I don't know what they're doing there, but the ref hates them for it. That's forbidden, I believe. It's forbidden if you believe the Bible. Wait, forbidden to go pantsless. Oh, no, sorry, the pork side of things. No, never mind. I've caught up now. To be honest, now who will win? I actually think with the amount of times that they are getting penalties at scrum time, I would be very surprised if the Cheetahs don't, because they're just working their way right back up the field time and time again. And at the moment, they have become the favourites, I do see. Now ready to throw it in. Nicely taken by the Cheetahs. Across to the left-hand side. Another attacking chance. There might have been a tackle off the ball there. 2 players ending up in the same spot. Now Currie. On and behind, interception chance, but I believe it was accidentally a forward pass there from the Cavaliers, although it's going to be play out. Note now they go back for it. It was pretty much in the tackle. The ball came free, but it did travel forward into the teammates' hands. We're up a few minutes in the second half. At this point, we should be knocking it out anywhere on the park. The way our scrum is going, says Camo. Yeah, like they just can't get that ball out of the scrum, no matter how quickly they tried. Like their last scrum looked all right, but down on the far side, and the ref was very happy to give that penalty again. Surely cricket is in the King James Bible, says Thuts Rose. And also, Kevin, sausages are best eaten like salami, chorizo, and lamb sausage is great with mustard. Do you dip your sausage in mustard? Or do you put sauce, like, is there mustard in the sausage, out of curiosity? Because I know some people will dip a sausage in some sauce. But I haven't heard of many dipping it in a mustard. Although saying that on a hot dog, you do put mustard on, don't you? So it's not weird. These late night streams go off on random directions, ladies and gents. I'm a professional chef. I promise you most pork. There he is. Okay, see Chantal now going off to the right-hand side. Attack and run forward. And JT has put, Kevin, I agree with you. Now off to the right-hand side. Now another step. And a drop ball from the Cheetahs. This one's gone forward, but that's not the end of the world for this Cheetah side because their scrum has been doing very well. I choose your words carefully, Hamish, says Lilia B. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't sound great, did it? There's just that knock on from Gideon Fundermurva. He's had a busy day. He got a yellow card. He got himself a try. Hamish dipping in mustard, German style. There's Roof. Now making their way off the field. I want to say that is actually Fundermurva. Yes, it is. So that was his last play of the day. Do you think Australia will win the last test to salvage some pride? There's going to be one of two things that happen. Either Australia are going to come out and play an extremely good game of rugby, or they're going to look much worse. Penalty on the 3. Cooking says, come on, yeah, all they have to do is just win the scrummy of the Cheetahs, and it's gone down again. Okay, both front rows slipping down. I don't think I've ever seen a side trying to get a ball out as quickly as we are seeing here from the Cavaliers, because they just know that if any wobble happens at scrum time, they are getting penalised. And that does seem to be maybe that little bit of a difference between the starting front row and the reserves for the Cavaliers here. They have got Van Score alongside Nunu and also Lawrence Victor as that number 18. But the first half, we didn't see too many times where the scrum looked really in trouble. Either they'll do well or they'll do badly. I'll take... Yeah, a bit of a basic one, wasn't it? But I don't think there'll be any in between. I think it's either going to be they'll go balls to the wall or they'll go really badly and not enjoy their time. But now trying to find their way through Masimla, almost able to get that offload away, but instead he's knocked it on, which means Cheetahs scrum, which also means more than likely penalty just around the corner here. Still just that 1 point difference between these two teams. Still another 10 minutes remaining on the clock. We have got a nice donation there from James. Take your prediction, chat. What will happen first? Wallabies win the Bledisloe Cup, or we get a good quality rugby video game? I honestly think we're closer to a Bledisloe Cup win for the Aussies than we are to a good rugby game. Because if Big Ant keep making them and they keep on just taking people's money and then not actually bothering to make the game good, like that's going to be a little while that takes. But I actually think that for Australia, they need a Bledisloe soon just to give them that confidence back. But with it being a 2-match series, it makes it very difficult. We have got our sausage and English mustard go well together. I think Fiji will win the World Cup, but we get a good rugby game, says Big Rig. I say you're picking the Lions to be about as good. Last game of a long season. They're going to have a lot of switches, though, in that Lions side. I think that now that they've secured the Series 2-0, we will see those other guys who maybe should have been put into the Test match team that didn't get the chance. I think that they'll be starting this next game. So, yeah, I think that it will be a tough game for the Aussies. But then at the same time, they could also use that last match as motivation. But it's very hard to get yourself hyped up for a game that now means nothing for them other than to stop a clean sweep. Boring first half, 41 points, then 14 second half, says Arvinoson. Yeah, although I do think that that's because there's been more of that feeling out process, and the second another penalty goes the way of the Cheetahs, you can pretty much write it as soon as a scrum goes down that they will be winning it. And we have got there by all and roof, says Gavin. We have got there, yes, for the Sevens World Cup, and also penalty, says Carmo, and Oz need the Bledisloe about 10 years ago, says Thuds Ray. But now, another kick towards the touchline for Collectum Blomikis. That one's gone down towards the 22. The local pork sausage isn't wonderful, rather have beef, says Roof there. Yeah, that's that scrum. Dawson can't handle it at the moment. Or, sorry, Dawson is doing well, I should say. Now, line out here for the Cheetahs. One more try converted would secure this game. Who names himself after a flower? Says Kevin, who are we talking in this one? Like one of the players? Now, spin there. Currie trying to link up. Sits up nicely into the hands of Van Veeren. Now, Currie, skip pass. Rush defense on Sikaketi. I'll never forget the relief. When the All Blacks finally won the Bledisloe back in 2003. We hadn't had it in 4 years. Going back for a penalty advantage, right? The Cheetahs could take a 4-point lead here. Blomikis, says Kevin there. Wait, so is Clayton a flower? Penalties conceded, 11 against Boland. I'd say at least 5 or 6 of those have been from scrum time. But now, be a chance to be able to line out from about 7 meters out from the line. The Springboks will have too much firepower for the Australians. Johannesburg is already intimidating for Australia. There's Mornay, and it does look like one of the players is going to be staying down. We have there quickly hides England's nickname. A Blomikis is a small flower, says Mike. Although Kevin said who names himself after a small flower, but of course, like Blomikis, he didn't get to pick his name, did he? Someone down the line would have. I don't think it's a bad thing to have your last name as like a flower. You know, flowers make people happy. They grow. They represent life. There are much worse last names you could have. Like Dave, no. And Dandelion from The Witcher is a complete complete bro. Probably wins the named after a flower contest. Says Big Rig. However, their Blomikis in English name is your flower. Yeah. But he didn't name himself, did he? I had a dentist whose name was Dr. Gay Coward. That's the worst name I've heard personally. It's a rough one. But at least he's got the doctorate. You know, that kind of makes up for it a little bit, doesn't it? And mate, why can't they get the people who make college 26 football to make a footy rugby game? Rolling maul there for the Cheetahs. And that should just about be the game. It's not going to be an easy one to be able to come back now for Boland, but they still need that extra try or else they will actually get nothing from this game in terms of points. What we will do is we'll go like this because we are up to 75 minutes, but the kick to come, this one to decide whether or not it is an 8-point difference or whether Boland still have a chance here. We have there Daffodil Rose Bluebell. And also waving the Cheetahs flag, says Camo. Yeah, it's been a brilliant comeback from the Cheetahs. There's no denying that after that first 20 minutes when they were really struggling to find any sort of momentum, Boland have had a couple times, though, that they have turned down 3-pointers. Go for the 7. Makaza gets it over. So now Boland are in the position of fighting for a point rather than fighting for the win. All right, we'll go like this. And like that as well. It did seem like the Cheetahs just took that little bit longer to find their rhythm. And some people have digs their name, so they're worse. Although that's quite a common one from back in the day. Now, running it forward. Off to the left-hand side. chance here for a little bit of a counter attack from the big man at 20 in this game. Thurlow Marsh, 25 metres out. If they score now, Boland, they will get themselves 2 points at the end of this game. A great name for a racehorse is Hoof-Hearted, especially when the commentator screams it fast, says Chantel. It took me a little while to work it out, but then after the second, it did hit my brain. Masimla, sits him down. 22 metres out now for Boland. It just seems like now they're deciding to actually try and attack. They've gone a little bit maybe breezy for the last 30 or so minutes, but now it is do or die. They have to make sure that they score next. Donovan Don go on. It went backwards, says the referee. Now 2 men for the Cheetahs getting in there. They've been penalised for something initially, and we'll go back for it. And we have got there the GAA footy final is just kicking off. Come on, Currie. That's the Gaelic football, isn't it? If I'm correct. Or is that hurling, actually? I assume it's Gaelic football. What does GAA stand for? Gaelic Athletic Association? That's my best guess. It's probably all... I think I've got the first one right. Now, kicking this. Oh, no. That is so poor from the Boland Kavaliers. They were 20 metres out from the line. They kick it towards the corner. He kicked it 3 metres off the ground. The guy just caught it. Went straight to him in the field of play. That is one of the worst kicks for touch you will see in any game for Juan Mostert there. Trying to get it out in the corner, but surely you can put a bit more height on that so that it doesn't go straight into the hands of Ntokozo Matkaza out on the wing. But now rolling maul tempted here, going through the middle is the big man Victor Sikaketi. And by all till next time, thank you very much for your top class commentary. See you later, Kevin. All is available now. Penalty advantage in favour of Boland again. Looking to use this back line. Skip pass out wide, too far out in front. And it will be another penalty. They will be able to kick it this time, hopefully, into touch. Any midweek B or British and Irish Lions games? Sadly, no. The last game of the British and Irish Lions tour will be next Saturday. And that's all. And then that's the tour done for 4 years, which is quite sad, really, because... it seemed like it was just too short. We have got there, love this. Yes, Cheetahs, says Chantel. And we have got there Higginbottom, bottom, long bottom, side bottom, worst names ever. Side bottom, I don't think I've heard of. I've heard of Higginbottom as well as long bottom. There's actually the guy from the Sevens, Maurice Longbottom. But side bottom, I haven't heard as a very common one. Looking for the rolling ball. 10 metres out from the line, Boland. Getting driven towards the sideline, sorry. Now, across to the right. Masimla. Popping it up again. Oh, big shot coming in on the kneecaps. And another advantage. That's for no arms. Masimla with the offload. Now passed on the outside. Boland quick hands. All they need is the finish. Donovan Don 2 metres out. If they are able to score right now, they actually still have time to win this game. But it will only be about a minute. But great defence from the Cheetahs at this point in time, not letting it budge. Still playing penalty advantage. 80 seconds remaining in this game. Another backline movement. Short ball from Klale. Getting close. 2 metres out from the line now. Blomikis has to make the one-on-one tackle. Dropping the head again. It is Klale. Or Nkale. Now, centimetres short of the try line. That was offside from the Cheetahs. And they will be short again. 55 seconds left. 2 points on the line for the Boland Kavaliers if they can score here. And the potential of a comeback victory if they can somehow score within, I'd say, 10 seconds. Masimla, cross kick now attempted. Going over and taken and scored by the Cavaliers. They've got time and they're taking it so casually. He's kicked the ball away, the try scorer there. But it is going to be Cheetahs. I don't think he realises how late in this game that actually is. But that will be the bonus point for the Cavaliers. They still have time for one more kickoff. Oh, it's going to be a yellow card. There's 17 seconds left. Surely the clock must be wrong because I'm seeing a lot too much casualness coming from a side that could actually come back to win this if they were to just try and dig in a little bit deeper for 20 more seconds. As if did they give up? Or have we got one more kickoff? Surely we got one more kickoff, right? Maybe they turned down the chance of taking the 3. Or maybe the clock was off because Vernon Polo went to the bin. I thought the Cheetahs would win, says Annie. Oh no, we have now got the kickoff, and I believe the kick either missed or they didn't take it. We didn't actually get to see it here on the coverage, but 3 points difference in this contest. Blommerkies kicks it off long, and the Cavaliers will have to go almost the full length of the field if they do want to score it. Footy in year close enough. It's also known as the Grab Ball Association. There's Flesh in there. And there's Sleepy says Big Rig, but now trying to run this one forward again with Clamini. Masimla passes back across. Now, there is a bit of risk that comes with this decision from the Cavaliers to try and run this one, because they could end up conceding here and losing one of the 2 bonus points that they have. But then there's also that reward. If they can get there and score, they will have themselves 5 points rather than the 2. Now passing it out wide. Chance down the wing. Brits putting it back on the inside, close to the sideline here. The Cheetahs trying to drive them over the sideline. Up to the halfway line now, though, for the Cheetahs, or just about, sorry, for the Cavaliers, throwing everything into this. Some people, so your name starts with January. Do you remember Ricky January? I mean, we've got a September in this match. Criswell September starting as the number 9 for the Cavaliers today. Now back across. Bounce pass. Nicely taken by the Cavaliers number 19. I believe it was Amir Hendricks. Do you ever watch Schoolboy Rugby in New Zealand or don't have time? I try to, but I don't really get enough time to watch it. Normally on those Saturday afternoons, we're either getting prep for the live streams or I'm sleeping so that I can do the all-nighter afterwards. Now back across. Oh, that was a high tackle and an advantage now to the Cavaliers. They can continue to attack. We are 82 minutes through in this contest, and they'll go back for the penalty. February, March, April, May, July. Sears Ruth. And Hardcastle is another one. Hardcastle sounds kind of cool, though, to be fair. Here we go, Boland. Here we go, is what is being chanted across the stands, but just a little bit too high from Victor Sekaketi, who's had a pretty good day overall out there on the field for the Cheetahs. But this has been match of the weekend. They just showed France Stain in the Cheetahs coaching box. Thanks again, Hamish, for your commentary. There's Bruce there. But now, another line-out chance. We're up to 83 minutes in this game. It is not over as of yet. And how many points will the Cheetahs have if they win? They will get 5 points from this game. So at the moment, the way that it sits is Cheetahs have 5 points, Boland have 2. Now, if Boland score now, that switches. And then if the Cheetahs score now, then that becomes just the 1 for Boland there. I'm not sure why I decided to have the fingers up for that when I was saying the numbers as well, but hopefully it made it easier. I didn't know that Sexton Hardcastle. Oh, I did know it was Sexton Hardcastle. But I didn't think it was his real name. Says Big Ring, and thanks, Amish, and everyone for the fun game now. Once again, going for the attacking chance here for the Boland Kavaliers. Looking for one last crack at a successful first match in the Currie Cup campaign. They will still be sitting minimum 4th, though. Or, sorry, minimum 5th on the overall standings. Now passed on the outside. Donovan Don charging forward. Had David Brits with him, but a 3-man tackle from the Cheetahs stopped the chance of an offload. This crowd is certainly getting their money's worth, but they will be even more excited and loud if they can score now, the Boland side, in front of the home team, or in front of the home crowd, I should say. Currently playing up against 14 Cheetahs 2. I don't even know how many phases in a row they have reached, but they have been attacking since the 80th minute, and they just will not budge. Now another attacking chance. Ball available at the back. Masimla going off to the right-hand side. Another little skip from the tight head prop. Masimla back into the pocket. I thought for a second we were going to see a drop goal there, but that would only take us to a draw. Big shot coming in. Great defense from Marco Jansi van Vuren, I should say. Now, almost 5 minutes have passed since the full-time siren, and still the Cavaliers on attack. Little bit of a step slip there from Mostert. I agree, top class, no questions is given. Do appreciate that a lot. Now Masimla going back across to the side. Chance again, another step attempted, but slipping over. Seems like the turf has started to get a little bit more rough to play on. Ball's there again, though. Continuing phases. I know that in the last game we had the phase count, but sadly for this one we do not. But I'd say they're up to 20 by now. The short, flat pass on the inside, well defended by the Cheetahs. We're up to 85.5 minutes. These boys think we're playing 90. Now, almost a chance there for the Cheetahs to be able to get the steal, but not quite able to do so. Masimla again now. Back into the pocket. Directional switch. Deciding to go to the right. Another step there. Currie. Ball's out the back. That Cheetahs player was offside in the penalty now. Right. This is a huge call here for Boland, because they can either get 2 points from here. If they do get the kick over, they'll get 3. I think you just go for the win, don't you? 2 points is quite a bit, and 5 points is even better. But I just wonder, in this scenario, what do you actually gain from going for the draw? And I don't think you gain a lot from this game. I think you actually get, I think you get 3 points maybe for the draw, maybe even 2. So they are kicking for the corner here, Boland. They want the victory, not the best kick towards the corner, but definitely didn't want it to go dead. So this will continue playing. 86.5 minutes through this contest. The Currie Cup final game of the round has certainly lived up to expectations. Only one line-out lost. That was from Boland. They have to make sure that this one is not number 2. That'll be the big chance for HP van Score as the line-out thrower. And crowd getting their money's worth absolutely now. Rolling more chance here for Boland. Can they cause what would be a massive upset? Although the Cheetahs, they went through the middle of that line-out maul and had a very good chance at getting the steal. It looks like Masimla bringing players in, fighting through the middle. No advantage going against the Cheetahs again. And ball does come out the back and under the advantage as well. They can throw everything into this for Boland. Cross kick attempted. Donovan Don waiting for it on the wing. In fact, it's David Pritz. Steps through one. Offloads up to Don, who reaches out and scores it. And they will win this game. Boland in the final moments of the game. They have defeated the Cheetahs after 87.5 minutes. They had a big lead. They let it slip, but they fought after the 80 minutes to continue to believe that they could win it, and they have done just that. 5 points on the Currie Cup table for Boland, 2 for the Cheetahs, so the score's reversed. But 88 minutes into this game, that is one of the best in terms of the amount of phases that they were able to put together without errors and the discipline of the opposition here. The Cheetahs just slipping a little bit too often throughout that matchup. Definitely in the final moments. Their scrum was dominant, though, the Cheetahs, and they will feel unlucky. They have lost this game, but the full-time 37 points to 35. We'll just find out whether or not that kick went over. Wacky games, these big rig. Yep, definitely game of the weekend, though. There's no denying that. It was the closest game out of all of them, as the nearest before this point was 21 points difference. The coaches in the box, they are ecstatic for that scoreline. And what a finish. Congrats. And now we see the young kids running onto the field to celebrate with the team. And that is a great moment there. David's getting swarmed by young fans and probably family members too, actually, in the Boland stands as they get themselves the massive win. This is me finished on rugby, and I am this chat. I've lost money. 8 minutes overtime. What the F? I'm off. Says Jack Lewis there in Western Province can't win. Our neighbours Boland wins this game. Says morning, and also Cheetahs lost it. Ouch, and congrats Boland to believe paid off. 5 tries each. 2 bonus points for the Cheetahs here, similar to the Aussie versus Lions game score-wise in the ending. Says Fleshin, although I think this one was a bit more intense for the way that it finished with the last minute try. No TMO for this one, but no, it was a great game. overall, I'm thoroughly happy that I did decide to stay up for it, even though I got work in about probably 5 hours. And man, that was a robbery in a good way, says Marco. And then winter weather sky. And also we have got there, I'll go to the foot of our stairs, says Bruce. And thanks for the commentary game. I hope work goes okay, says Big Rig. And definitely match of the weekend, says Little League B. And yeah, what a game between these two sides. Both of them, at times, you say, deserve to win it. The Cheetahs, their comeback in that second half, they dug deep, they dominated scrum time, and they didn't actually do a lot wrong up until that little bit of a period between 79 minutes and 88. They just couldn't get their hands on the ball, and they were ill-disciplined, and that made the big difference. A couple of penalties in a row, but Boland, they had the opportunity to take on the 3 points for a draw, but they said, no, we don't want that. We want the 5. We want the win. And that's what they were able to do in front of their home crowd. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm hoping to do some more of the Currie Cup next week. But yeah, what a game to finish out the rugby weekend. We will be back next weekend with the British and Irish Lions. Same with some Currie Cup, same with some Bunnings NPC as well. But I do thank you all very much for being here. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.